Yes, everybody, hello, welcome back to Forever United TV. Welcome along to your evening updates around the football club. And it does seem like a time has been set on RUBEN AMORIM's head now, according to reports that have just come out in the last 10 minutes about how long, how many games, what's happening behind the scenes with senior players at Manchester United, and more fallout talk. Yes, I'm sorry we have to talk like this. I'm sorry it's all negative around Manchester United at the moment, but it seems like the club, according to these reports, are making some big calls and some big decisions that do affect the future of Manchester United. We're going to get into all of the news and we're going to get into the live comments and get your thoughts on this as well. Please do drop your comments in at the bottom of the screen, everybody, once this video is finished. If you're catching up later, you might not have got back from work yet. We've gone slightly earlier tonight because we're on double Champions League night on Football Talks after this, so we can continue talking about United news while we're watching Arsenal versus Bilbao, and obviously Villarreal are playing Spurs as well. We're going to be doing both games on Football Talks later on, so please join us straight after this live show. Let's get into the United news, more importantly right now, and what is happening and what's going on with RUBEN AMORIM. There was several reports starting to do the rounds. We've got one from IMAGO, which is coming out in a minute, but maybe Disco Dave from the Mirror has jumped in and beat him to it, because this has just come out now and it's all over X and all over social media that although the Manchester United hierarchy insists RUBEN AMORIM retains their full backing and they have no plans to replace him, it is understood they will assess the situation and trajectory of the team after their next 3 games. Now, next 3 games, as we've been speaking about plenty here on Forever United TV, are Chelsea, obviously, this weekend, then it's Brentford, then it's Sunderland, and then guess what? It's that monthly meeting that Sir Jim Ratcliffe holds, and it's the international break. It's like it's gone a full year anniversary here of when Ten Hag was sacked. RUBEN AMORIM basically needs to win these games, is what I'm reading here. But more importantly and more interestingly, in this one, there is more of a report that's come out from IMAGO, which I'm going to read out to you now, and then we'll get into the comment section on this as well. But this is what IMAGO has just tweeted out. He sort of teased us earlier on saying there is breaking news and a big bomb coming at 5 o'clock today. So we've just read through it. I've just gone through it before we started the show, which is why I'm a little bit late. Sorry, everybody. But Indy says, secret operation. Now, this sounds like something from like a covert army operation or something like that from the government. But yeah, a secret operation called International Reset is in play. You don't need to put a title on everything. I'm not laughing at the situation there. I'm just laughing at someone putting a name and a title on top of RUBEN AMORIM's future at the football club. I think it's a joke. Senior players expecting the sack news. Again, how many times have we said this? It is rinse and repeat, and the movie's back again. It's episode 7 when it comes to managers of Manchester United, and the same sources are coming out saying the same things. According to our sources, that at Manchester United have secret plans to sack RUBEN AMORIM in the October international break if the results don't improve drastically. Drastically. What does drastically mean? We'll discuss that in a minute. There are even secret documents outlining the steps, the next steps once the decision is made. It seems like certain senior players are already anticipating his exit, which adds a layer of tension to the squad. Now, again, let's just read that top line. There are even secret documents outlining the next steps once the decision is made. Secret documents, secret operation called International Reset. You can see where I'm going. It's like something from Netflix. But I'll read on quickly before we can get into the comment section. As exclusively revealed by us already, the club has a shortlist ready with names like Oliver Glasner and Andoni Iraola. The tensions are at boiling points in the boardroom. Okay. So India's gone full on in. And we're quoting India because he's come back with a hell of a lot of credit from the summer in terms of some of the news that he broke. A lot of people and journalists shouting him down, but he did end up being right with quite a lot through the summer. So we're quoting that. But this has also been backed up by what Disco Dave from the Daily Mirror has also said. And he obviously is a Manchester United journalist. He's the correspondent for that publication. He's at every single press conference, speaks to Manchester United staff. And when I talk about these journalists and I say that maybe they're not quite at the forefront of all the transfer news, you leave that to Ornstein, you leave that to Fabrizio Romano and them sorts of journalists when it comes to transfers. But when it comes to internal stuff, all of these journalists are there all of the time. They were on the tour, they speak to United staff, they know a lot of people at the football club, they're there a lot. And this kind of story is where they make their bread and butter. That's what they do. It's in-season reporting when you look at journalists like this. And I've said this many a time through the summer. I do listen to what they say, but I always look towards the bigger sources for transfer news. This unrest type of stuff, this is brought through people talking from the football club to the local journalist. They're not going to get on the blower to Fabrizio Romano. That's all of the agents talking to Romano, and he gets the lowdown from that. At Manchester United, right now with all of the unrest, the talk is from the local journalist, like Samuel Luckhurst at weekends, like Disco Dave, like Chris Wheeler. And Chris Wheeler and Nate Salt have indeed, and Nate Salt was listening to that show last night. What do you call them now? The buddy, I can't remember what it is. Like when you do a live show on X and everyone's listening. What's it bleeding called? You know what I mean. Anyway, well, Nate Salt was on that when Sully was talking last night about Manchester United. And this has come from Chris Wheeler now as well, and Nate Salt reporting at the same time. A number of figures close to Manchester United's first-team squad are increasingly concerned that RUBEN AMORIM hides when the going gets tough in matches and does not do enough to inspire from the technical area. Whew. There are some brutal leaks and quotes coming out here on RUBEN AMORIM. He is being absolutely shafted left, right and centre off by all of the media. And these are the same people that are going to be asking him questions on Friday in that press conference ahead of that game against Chelsea, one of the important games. Wheeler also, it's a Twitter space, by the way, that's what we was trying to remember. So Nate Salt was actually on the Twitter space last night talking about United when Sully came on as well. Manchester United would have to pay RUBEN AMORIM $12 million if they sack the Portuguese coach within the first year of his contract at Old Trafford. They're praying that he bleeding makes it through to that November international break and he goes over a year, aren't they? And that's what they're hoping for. But that's the figure and that's what it's going to cost Manchester United to get rid of him. More news as we go forward. Again, we spoke earlier on. I did a video about what was it? About 12:30 today on the future, and it all starting again. The speculation of other managers, like what was said there from Inde in his piece around that Project International Break, whatever it is, secret covert operation. Among the early bookmakers' favourites if AMORIM goes are Marco Silva from Fulham. Didn't expect that one. Oliver Glasner from Crystal Palace. Unai Emery from Aston Villa, like we said earlier on. And Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth. In fact, which one of them would you go for if it did come about, everybody? I don't want to hit a man while he's down like RUBEN. He's suffering right now, and I hate to see it. I really wanted it to work for him. But he has come out, and I said earlier on, if you haven't watched the midday video, I actually messaged Sully to find out what was going on, and his words to me were, RUBEN AMORIM has made it very, very clear to everyone at Manchester United that he is not, and I repeat, not going to change his style, his philosophy. I was on Sky this morning arguing with bleeding Jamie O'Hara about RUBEN, maybe someone talking to him and just telling him to just change it up a little bit. There's hope still if he changes and moves his team around. But I got that news after that show, and it's like everything I said in trying to defend RUBEN AMORIM, which is why I put the tweet out earlier on. Does anyone else feel like you're trying to defend the manager when it just feels pointless? It does, because if he's not willing to accept it, there is no hope for him, and there is never, ever going to be a successful period under RUBEN AMORIM. Everything that's coming out now is all against him, and it's just going to keep on piling on for him, and there is going to be nothing. It's going to be relentless from this point right now. And if he does lose that game against Chelsea, I think he's done. Now, the 3 games, I didn't expect it to come this soon. I thought maybe we're looking at the next 7 games, which is then the November international break. So Manchester United, I mean, honestly, when I look at all the games coming up, I cannot feel comfortable in any of them. Maybe this Sunderland at home, I can almost feel like United are not guaranteed to get 3 points, but really should be getting the 3 points no matter what out of that game. Like, Sunderland won't make it easy, but I think that's the one game that I feel United should be looking at to 100% get the points on the board, but nothing else. I don't see it. Like, Brentford after Chelsea is going to be a tough game, very tough. I'm not looking forward to that game. United have got a better chance against Chelsea than they have Brentford. And we've seen how intense Brentford were against Chelsea. Them with Man United players, they're going to run all over us. And that is a sorry state of affairs. But look, they're the news and there's the stories right now regarding RUBEN and what's actually happening. I'm going to get into all of your comments now on this, but yeah, just to go over it again, I will go over it in a minute in full, but the general gist of it is that there is talks going on behind the scenes that RUBEN AMORIM has got 3 games left. It's basically up until the next international break. Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland, October international break. And this is going to be crunch time and when a decision is made on his future. If the results don't go well, and they're saying substantially get better, as in the results at United, what's that, 3 wins? I don't know what that means or what they're classing as better for this next few games. But if results don't get better in the next 3, then the decision is going to be made. And there is a secret plan behind the scenes for what happens next, step by step, for RUBEN AMORIM and the sacking of the manager. But like we've said there, like, there's £12 million worth there for United to fork out. Again, it's going to be embarrassing for Ineos. It really is. Already spending, over 20 million in releasing managers and different members of staff already that they've, one they kept in Ten Hag, but 2 that they've employed in Dan Ashworth and RUBEN AMORIM. It just doesn't look good, and they're going to get pelters for it. They're just playing. They're playing for time. AMORIM is getting sacked, says Teddy. Let's just see what we've got in here now. I'm just going to go through as many as I possibly can. This isn't fair. He can't get sacked before the Liverpool game. I don't envy any manager coming in after international break, going straight in at Anfield. It's not fair on him. You could say it's not fair on him. It probably is fair on him if his results are not right, but it's not fair on the next manager coming in to be introduced to the Liverpool game. That's a good point there. With these players, unless we get a counter-attacking style coach, it'll be the same. A January and a summer transfer window isn't enough for AMORIM to save himself. What do we reckon to all of the comments coming out about the players giving up on RUBEN AMORIM and like he's going hiding? I mean, Chris Wheeler ain't going to get a question at this week's press conference, is he? I don't think Disco Dave will either. They have really gone to town on RUBEN AMORIM here, and they have completely buried him. They've more than buried him, for me. To say that he's actually going missing when the going gets tough, that's a little bit harsh. I mean, you could probably, when it comes to the substitutes, I think it was Wayne Rooney who was talking about this earlier on his podcast when he was saying that you kind of know what the substitutes are already. You know that there's going to bring 2 different defenders on. That happens every single game. Harry Maguire is always going to come on off the bench. And it's very predictable, incredibly predictable, in fact, in how RUBEN AMORIM works. And he hasn't really done much from the bench in games, or his in-game management has not been something that people have talked about glowingly. To be honest, there isn't much that people have talked about glowingly about RUBEN AMORIM on the pitch, whether it's in-game or team selection, tactics or anything, is it? Let's see what else we've got here in the comments section. Welsh Red says, if AMORIM goes, Glasner is the man. I hope he brings Wharton with him. United entitled by December, Until we commit to a rebuild, this team will never grow. We have one of the most promising coaches in the world that loves the club and that has helped cleaned from cancerous players. Yep, all that is great, and I've picked up on that, and that is a big point for RUBEN AMORIM to talk about. It is a very, very important part of what he's done while he's been at the football club, but you cannot keep a manager that isn't getting the best out of the players. Like, you cannot get rid of every single player. There has to be some good players at Manchester United. Surely there is enough there for us to mount a challenge to get at least into the top half of the table. Surely. Anyway, it doesn't look like it would seem. Hope he strips the armband off Bruno and leave him on the bench. I'm disgusted over the news, says Ellen. Let's see what we've got in here as well. Steve says Ten Hag was fired because of poor results and the team not being on the right path. Here we go again. Sigh. Teddy says Amorim couldn't smell a fart in a phone box. Nice. That's one way of putting it. Let's see what else we've got. Red Terry 28 says, can we start talking about how shite the players are instead of destroying yet another manager? Well, the players have let themselves down. We've talked about that. We have actually brought that up. We've talked about it, I think, in depth. We talked about Luke Shaw. We've talked about Bruno Fernandes. We talked about Manuel Ugarte. I think players like Ahmad have gone under the radar this season. I think he's been crap, and I love him. I do. I don't think anybody's covered themselves in glory at all. You're scraping some of the defenders at best, but then they were awful against City at weekend, and they've gone back down now. Like, look, at the end of the day, what RUBEN has to do if he wants to survive is adapt his system. He's not going to. He is going to get sacked. It's inevitable. I literally spent 10 minutes on Sky trying to debate this and defend this man and defend him in terms of what he could do and what might happen and how he survives and keeps his job at the club. And every single time I came up with a positive, it was met with double negative in terms of, well, he's the worst manager at the football club post-World War II. He's got a win ratio of 25% in the Premier League. He averages 1 point a game. He's ranked 17th in the league table since he came to Manchester United. His form, his relegation form at this football club. And at the end of the day, it's the table that's going to dictate what happens. It's where we are in the league. It's the style of football we play, and it's the results on the pitch. That's all that's going to matter to RUBEN Amorim now. And apparently these 3 games are the ones that are going to cook him or not. I don't know where he goes from here. If he is sacked back to Portugal, we had the stories that he was Benfica representatives were there at the Etihad at weekend, that they might be thinking of taking him as well. There's a lot. Michael says Iriola is the man. A few super chats in. I'm just going to run through them quickly before I just go over the news again, because we have got some more player news coming up as well tonight, which is alongside all of this. But the reports are coming out thick and fast tonight. They really are. If we sack RUBEN now, after not getting him the most pivotal players for his system, midfielders, in brackets, Ant says, then we deserve everything we get. Utter joke club. If RUBEN gets sacked, then Barada needs to be sacked. Does he? Is it his job? Should he be sacked? Look, they all made this decision, didn't they? They all came through and made this decision on RUBEN Amorim. The hierarchy are never going to be sacked, by the way. That just doesn't happen like that in football, sadly. I'm with you, though. Like, they do need to take accountability for this as well. They're the ones employing the people at the football club. And already, they're through 3 big members of staff. First ever sporting director at the football club, sacked, gone within months. First manager under Ineos, sacked, gone within a year at the football club. Keeping hold of Ten Hag didn't last 3 months, sacked, gone. Expense. Wasted money that could be going into Manchester United, could be going into the women's team or the youth development. But no, everything's piled into the first team and it is being wasted. This is why this one cuts deeper than anything else. It was the structure in place. It was the backing of RUBEN Amorim. It was the right man coming in. He left his current club, a championship winning club, to come to United to come and fix the problem. This was it. This was the big one. Where do we go from here if this fails? Nobody knows. It was like the abyss. There was no idea what was going to happen next, and we're here. We've not even made it a year, and we're back here again, talking about what happens next and not having a clue. Not having a clue. Mark Ash renewed his membership 6 months. What a legend. Cheers, Mark. Looks like rebuild cancelled and we revert to type. The United fans are not going to be happy. Look, I said this, and I've said, how many times have I said it? The only thing that people are going to that's going to help people forget this is if Manchester United start winning games. And I don't know what manager is going to get the best out of this. There's a few options there, but United are going to have to spend another 20 million here in bringing another manager in and sacking one if they get rid of RUBEN Amorim, because they're going to have to pay compensation for another manager. If they go out and get someone that's not got a job at the moment, then they're showing absolutely zero zero forward thinking here for me, this football club. There's zero ambition in that sort of decision. They need to go out and get what's out there. Go out and say, this is United, we're bringing this manager in. It's as simple as that. And a Jose, a Daesh, an Ole, any managers like this, good God. Fornster, one more. Random says, this cannot be true. We are playing Chelsea and Liverpool. Well, we've got Brentford and Sunderland before that, which I think is more concerning for us, mate. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Another one in from Fornster says, Glasner plays the same system with Hughes. We will struggle. I think Glasner's a bit more adaptable than what Ruben is, looking at how they play. But look, again, this is what United are going to have to decide. Honestly, right now, throw it up in the air and whichever ball lands closest, pick that manager. I couldn't tell you which manager is going to be the best for this football team anymore. We've been through everything. We've done absolutely everything in trying to find out what the best option was for Manchester United and this squad of players, and nothing's worked. So really, it's just pot luck, innit? That's all it is for picking another manager. Glasner play. Oh, sorry, I just read that one. Sub N says, Ruben has been properly backed. What is this? Gets him a midfielder. He is not playing the best midfielder he has. One player does not change anything. That, again, is the hardest part when trying to defend Ruben Amorim. That is very difficult because he is playing other players. He is. Jimmy Thwaites, one of the youngsters Amorim likes the most. It was Thwaites who made the best impression of the youngsters that took part in post-season tour to Malaysia and in Hong Kong. Honestly, all of this talk is great for the player and the future of Manchester United, but for Ruben Amorim, not right now. He's not going to see the best of these young players. All of this talk about the project, remember the conversations we had? This is where it feels horrible. And as a United fan, do you know what, before? On Sky, when I was debating and trying to defend where we're at and what we could do, and I knew I was fighting a losing battle. In the end, I just came to the conclusion. I just said, look, what do you want me to say? I'm a United fan who does not know where we go from here. This is just the absurd now. Nobody has got the answers. Nobody. We're literally putting this down now to pot luck how Manchester United move forward. It's pot luck. What happens next for this football club? There is no planning here. There's nothing you can plan in terms of picking another manager. They did this with Ruben. They thought they had the best manager out there, the best progressive manager to bring into Manchester United with a system and an idea and a philosophy. Failed before we'd even got to the year mark. So what next? Prem-proven managers? I think that's the only way we can go. It is. And if he was giving me a manager of everyone there, I'm probably looking to my top two. I like Glasner. I like what he does. Iriola and Emre would definitely fit the bill for me. I think someone will take Iriola soon. I think Jamie O'Hara was saying that when I was on Sky before. He will be the next manager to go to a big club. Do we just go and do it? Do we just go and pay the penalty and bring him in? Honestly, it's still pot luck for me because I don't know if these players are going to be able to adapt. In all of this, professionalism has gone out the window with these players. And I'm fighting one corner and coming across to the other. And this is the mess we're actually in. But he could help himself. Out of all of this, everybody said the same thing. He could help himself out here and change it up a bit. But what I was told earlier on, what's being reported this afternoon, and everything that we've talked about the last 2 days after that debacle at weekend in the Manchester derby, is that Ruben is never going to change. And this, I think, is the end of Ruben Amorim. It's exactly the same talk as it was last time when Ruben Amorim came into the club and Ten Hag left. It's exactly the same. We have seen it and we have read and talked about it before. It's going to be exactly the same situation and formalities as it was with Ten Hag. I just don't know how long he's going to give him, because this has been a horrendous start to the season for Manchester United. A few more. Wow, how did it get to that time? Sorry, everyone. So we still put on time we still put on time wasters like Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire. The clear-out has to continue. I'd get in a rolling contract guy in November and lower expectations till the purge is completed. So get an interim manager in, you would say. Haven't they had chances? Because we create nothing and won't with this setup. I'm just being real here. I see no future AMORIM, even though I don't want him sacked. There is no evidence we are going anywhere. Wayne Rooney made a fantastic call. It wasn't fantastic, but it was very important. He said after the Manchester derby, he was talking with Claude Makalele, legend midfielder, obviously. He said, unless you have got two bosses in that midfield, you can't have two midfielders in the Premier League. You have to have three. It doesn't work. You will be overrun. You've got to be the ultimate midfielder, and you need two of them. One never plays there, and the other has been sold twice before the age of 23 from his club in European football, from Sporting to PSG, now to Manchester United. So clearly he isn't the best that there is. And he's in there on his own with a player that doesn't know the role in Bruno Fernandes. And Ruben's persisting with it when he had chances to change it. And that's why you can't defend him. But Wayne Rooney's right on that. He is. Like, they have to be the right players. And they had to bring midfielders in the summer. And now we didn't. God only knows. And then we've gone in hoping that we can manage, knowing that the same players failed us last year in similar positions. Not fully Bruno, because he didn't always play there, but Manuel Ugarte wasn't a good enough player last season for United, for either manager, and we've gone back in with him as our main player going into the Manchester derby in that holding midfield role. I mean, come on. Seriously. That's not right. And that's where we're at right now. Is the writing on the wall? Question mark. That's the poll running right now. Is this the end for RUBEN AMORIM? 71% of you have said yes, it's the end for RUBEN AMORIM. I think it's just in reading into everything that's going down and going on. Everybody is feeling like this is exactly the same as what it was for Erik ten Hag. We've been here before. We've worn a t-shirt. We've got the t-shirt in the closet. We've seen the movie. It's the same reporters. It's the same writing. It's the same stories. It's the same timing. The international breaks, the same meetings that we were talking about last year. Everything is identical to what happened with Ten Hag this time last year. It really is. Just going through all of the reports just to keep you fully updated on this. Wheeler and Nate Salt have just... there is 4 candidates, by the way. If you have just come into us, quickly, I will just read you the actual story from IndyCali, the detailed version of this. Just again, if you are just joining us, IndyCali says secret operation called International Reset is in play. Senior players expecting the sack news. According to our sources, that Manchester United have secret plans to sack RUBEN AMORIM in the October international break if results don't improve drastically. Don't know what drastically means. Whether it's unbeaten, whether it's 3 wins, what's acceptable to Ineos, I don't know. If he gets 3 wins, he's up into the European places, so that puts it all to bed, doesn't it? There is even secret documents outlining the next steps once the decision is made. I know. It seems like certain senior players are already anticipating the exit, which adds a layer of tension to the squad. As exclusively revealed by us already, the club has a shortlist ready with names like Oliver Glasner and Andoni Iraola. Also, Marco Silva and Unai Emery. They're the 4 managers that are being talked about at the moment. Tensions are at boiling points in the boardroom. So whatever leak or whatever source this is, I feel is very, very important. Very important. And definitely for me, that one there is the one that stands out the most. That one there stands out, the boardroom level one, because we know, and we've been talking about the love that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has for RUBEN AMORIM. And that, I think, is what we do need to remember in this. Just checking into all of the other bits from Chris Wheeler's news. Manchester United are concerned about RUBEN AMORIM's emotional reactions, particularly after losses. Last month, the United boss explained his post-match outburst at Grimsby, saying, "Sometimes I hate my players, sometimes I want to quit." again, like at board level, you're going to be picking up on all of these sorts of things, aren't you? You're going to be picking up on what he says. You cannot do this. You know who you're representing. You know where you are. It's Manchester United, and you cannot get away with things like that at this football club. And some people at Manchester United will be saying, we're not allowing this guy to get away with this. He cannot talk like this. Some clubs would say that's a sackable offence. Some big clubs. They will. Manchester United hopes another managerial change isn't needed as stats show improvement this season. We've gone from 15th to 14th. Improvement. Yeah. Also, quickly on the player side of things as well, you may have seen the news earlier on. Newcastle are keeping tabs on Manchester United midfielder Kobbie Mainoo ahead of the January transfer window. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe is known to be an admirer of Mainoo and would consider testing United's resolve if the 21-year-old continues to find himself out in the cold. Now, the reports about him and Bruno Fernandes reconsidering their place at Manchester United. Bruno, we kind of knew was thinking about it anyway. And I think he's gone off the boil completely. Kobbie Mainoo, I feel, feels like giving up at the moment. And it's going to be very interesting to see who starts the game against Chelsea, because we may have players coming back from injury. We know that Bruno's never going to be dropped. And Casemiro didn't start the game against Manchester City. So is he going to play? And is Bruno going to play in there as well against a very, very formidable Chelsea midfield? And then Kobbie's not playing again. That's 6 games in a row in the Premier League. Kobbie Mainoo has not started when United apparently don't have enough midfielders. What's his head thinking right now? Bruno is Bruno. Bruno will take care of itself at the end of the season. Bruno's not going anywhere this season. I would be absolutely amazed if Bruno left in January, unless there is a huge fallout. I don't see that happening. But Bruno is the one, if you remember, that has said that RUBEN Amorim does not talk to the players. He keeps to himself. And maybe this is what the players are picking up on right now. Senior players at Manchester United are picking up where RUBEN may have left off in terms of communication. He doesn't speak to them, Bruno said. He's on his own and we deal with our own stuff afterwards. He deals with us in training and everything else is just left to our own. We're all left to our own devices afterwards. And maybe the senior squad and this so-called, what did they call it now, like the senior group of players, like his support squad, his support team of players. I think it was Bruno, Dalot, Maguire, players like this, Mazraoui, the senior players at Manchester United that have like a group together, like the support group for United. That's what was talked about. Maybe they're doing the talking right here. I don't know, maybe Ahmad's frustrated as well with not playing in the right position and his form being off. Maybe the players now are looking at RUBEN Amorim and they're saying, look, we're giving absolutely everything, but we're just suppressed in this system that we're just not happy. We can't express ourselves. You tell me one player that looks happy at Man United at the moment. I mean, Bruno's always smiling. I just don't see it in him. I don't see the same body language in Bruno Fernandes. Something is definitely wrong anyway. But Kobbie and Bruno are in the headlines again this afternoon. Look, we're going to continue talking about this over on Football Talk because we're going to start the watch-alongs very soon as well. I can see loads of people getting in the chat. If you come across after this onto the watch-along for the Arsenal game versus Bilbao, I promise you, you get your comments in, I'll get you up on screen and we'll read them out. I just haven't got the time to do it here right now. But I'll finish off with a super chat from Random Guy again who says, How is this a horrendous start? We play the big 4 teams in the country in our first 8 games. How much can be expected from the team against them? We've got 1 win in 5, mate, off the back of our worst ever Premier League finish. It's an horrendous start. It is. And we picked up points in them fixtures last season and we haven't this season already. So you could say from last season, mate, this is where we actually got points. But this season, we've not. We got a point against Arsenal in the corresponding fixture last season. We beat Manchester City in the corresponding fixture last season. We got nothing from them 2 games. So we're already 4 points down from previously last season, which was our worst in Premier League history. So you can spin it which way you want to. But when it gets to this point when the players are falling out, when they're not happy and they're not working for him, and you get all this talk from behind the scenes, all our conversations about what's a good start and what's not, United are 14th. After finishing 15th, We haven't moved at all in over a month of football back when we're supposed to have had a full pre-season behind us. That's what people are going to report. I get what you're saying. Look, you could lose to Chelsea. You could lose to Arsenal. You could lose to City. Anyone can lose them games. You kind of get away with it. This is why I think he should get the next 7 games and then judge him. But I'm looking at the next 7 games going, oh no, as well, because I'm worried about Brentford more than I am Chelsea. I think we should be beating Chelsea at weekend. I think we do beat Chelsea on Saturday. And that's going to put a cat amongst the pigeons with all of this talk, isn't it? Anyway, we are moving across now onto Football Talks. The watch-along is about to start, everybody, so come and join us there, please. Get involved, everybody. Get your chats in over there. Thank you, all of the Super Chats, new subscribers as well. Thank you, everyone, for being part of the show this evening. We are going to continue everything now over on Football Talks, so I'll see you all over there in just a moment's time. Give the video a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you if you have already. I'll see you over on Football Talks.